Whew. I'm here in Manhattan Beach in Los Angeles, California. Some of the most beautiful homes you've ever seen. This week, I flew to Los Angeles to go to an event with Apple. It was just like a creator event, nothing crazy, no potential sponsorship or anything like that. But sometimes you want to just make an appearance, right? Now, I have been feeling sick this whole week. I'm staying with a friend of mine. We went to the gym, and then I went to the sauna just to steam out whatever this is that I'm battling right now. And there were a bunch of high school kids, and they were talking about, things you talk about in high school, and just like hooking up with girls or whatever. And I'm like, I can't just like sit here and not say something, right? So then they got onto the topic of like missing class, and I was like, yo, what's your plan for after college? And they're like, oh, didn't know you were listening. And they're like, marketing or business, whatever. And I was like, yeah, but what percent of guys your age are going to do exactly that? They're like, I don't know, probably half of them. I was like, yeah, probably 90% of guys your age want to just do something basic. Want to go into real estate development, yeah, everyone wants to do that. The topic of conversation went to something along the lines of, yeah, we get it. It's like who you know and all those types of things, building relationships. And I was like, that's not it at all. No one cares who you know, okay? That might get your foot in the door, but ultimately what will get you success in life is what you've done. And that whole concept has just stuck with me. It's not who you know, it's what you've done and what you're doing, right? If you do enough things with your life, you can end up here. But do you think any of these homes are homes that people bought because they knew someone? No. They did something with their life, made a lot of money, or maybe they just bought the house back when it was really cheap. Who knows, right? But to be on this strand, these homes are $5 million a piece. The half mile that I just ran down to the pier, I just ran past $1 billion of real estate, 1 block away from me. There's 5 blocks before you get to a road. All of this real estate, like this is billions of dollars. These people didn't get here because they knew someone. Some of them got into that position, maybe in the old world it's been that way, but nowadays, to do something with your life, you have to actually do something. To have done something in your life, you have to do something. You can't just know people anymore. Anyways, I'm reading this book, and it's interesting because I'm sick and I'm like battling the sickness. Part of the reason I think I'm sick is because I just did something, but now I'm done and I don't know what I should be doing. My brain is restructuring, and it's taking a lot of energy just to restructure, to find that story that I'm basing my life on in this next season. And because I'm taking all that energy there, and then I'm also recovering from the 7 marathons, plus the 50 marathons, and then I ran a marathon in Atlanta. You see what I mean? Like all this running has put my body in a place where I can't fight off that infection because I don't have a motivating story. So my mind is expending a ton of energy, so then it's less energy is available for the rest of my body to regulate itself, and on top of that, I'm putting myself through all these really difficult circumstances, right? So this whole week, I'm realizing a lot, learning a lot about myself. The book I'm reading is We Who Wrestle with God by Jordan Peterson. I haven't read a book in 6 months. Meditations, I read it for the second time, and outside of that, I don't think I've read a book in like a year and a half, 2 years. I used to be really big into reading. My mind needs to be strengthened again and restructured so that I can take on this new season of life. And so in the same way that like physically I'm broken down and I need to go to the gym and build that back up, the same is true in all categories of life. I have to build up my body, my mind, and my soul by strengthening and maintaining, right? When you take on a challenge, you can do it in one area of life. Having kids, for example, it drains you. You have to build yourself back up, maintain that category of your life. Same thing with like when you take on a physical challenge or start work at a new job. It's very easy for your new set of responsibilities to take over your life and for you to forget the maintenance items. But when you forget to maintain what you've already built, there's not going to be a time to go back and rebuild what you spent your early 20s building. You went to the gym when you went to college because all you had to do was show up to class and look hot, right? That was the only thing you needed to do to succeed, and so then you just go to the gym all the time. Well, guess what? as soon as work takes over and then you forget to maintain, you lose that figure. Oh, I had that injury and I just haven't got back into it. Or, man, work is just so busy and X, Y, and Z. You're never going to do anything with your life if you let these things take hold and then never, maintain or grow those different areas of your life and hold that progress that you've made. If you're always starting over every single year, imagine that, like you're a hunter-gatherer back to like the very beginning of society. Like if you're always starting over, then there's no progress that can be made. You can't build a home. You can't store up resources. All these things translate over to like your life today, but in the more like philosophical or broader categories of your life, body, mind, and soul. So anyways, I'm reading this book and it's helping me restructure my mind, which is great because I'm sick. I need to be structured up here so that I have a clear pathway forward, so that my mind spends less energy trying to extract the value from the world and understand everything and compile all the facts into a structure of some sort. Peterson argues in this book, We Who Wrestle with God, that we structure the world based around a story. And so what's the story that you're viewing the world with? Anyways, there's a lot of different things that he talks about in this book. Incredible ideas. This is exactly what I needed to read to restructure my mind right now. It's not what you know or who you know, or it's not who you know, it's what you know. And it's what you do with what you know. And then it's what you've done and what you're continuing to do. Because at a certain point, you don't want to just be someone who once was, right? You can achieve so much success that, like, oh, you're the guy who's known for this, like the actor in the movie that gets typecast. You want to be someone who's constantly evolving on the border of chaos and order. Peterson talks about this in the book as well, that the optimal zone of development is where you're just on the edge of chaos and order. So right in the boundary of known and unknown, you're barely exerting yourself over what's comfortable, or maybe you're optimally positioned to exert enough effort to strengthen yourself, but not to crush you. And this is the problem, is that the perfect dream that you build up in your mind will crush you, right? And so then you have to pull that dream back and do one step at a time, because if you don't, the marathon's too scary. But one step at a time, anyone can run a marathon. That whole metaphor applies here. It's very interesting though, because when you're on the border, think about the opposite of this, right? Right now I'm on the coast, California. We'll go deep into the middle of the United States in Arkansas, right? Neighborhoods. Arkansas is a great place to live. It's very safe. It's the safest place to raise a family. But the neighborhoods, the homes, they're all very similar, right? Versus here, every single home along this entire stretch is very different. These are the different, like, physical locations, but as well the different structurings of the mind. The homes here are much more creative because they're on the barrier of what's known and what's unknown. The physical boundary of, like, the land, the actual physical boundary. The same is true, like, you need that middle, right? We need the conservative frame of mind, but we also need the liberal frame of mind. Those two interplay together because in certain areas you need more boundaries, in other areas you need more openness. And this is like a living spectacle of that. Like, middle America is very important. Every part of America is very important. We wouldn't exist without it, right? But you can actually see the manifestation of that idea in the real estate. The most valuable real estate is on the coast because these are the ideas that are just on the border, right? Some of these homes are stupid, and like, who would ever think that like a concrete wall would make for an interesting home, but that home is worth $5 million. Okay, whatever. But other homes, like, oh wow, that is a very unique design. They brought a home from Italy and placed it here. It's beautiful, right? Well, that home is $15 million, actually. So it's like, just because you're on the border doesn't mean that you're gonna come into play with an idea that's actually valuable, but every now and again you will, and it's extremely valuable. And so there's like that false value plus the real value, and then to carry it back, like, you still need the middle right? You can't just always be on the, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe you do want to be on this optimal zone. Like, we're not in the ocean yet, right? I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Wanted to make a video about it and talk about how, like, I'm restructuring my mind. And when you build your body and maintain it, then you do the same with your mind and then the soul as well. Like, you're unstoppable, because then you're maintaining what you've built in the past and stacking on top of it. And so now, like, this is where it's not who you know, it's what you've done and what you're doing. You can leverage what you've done to do more things now and stack these actions together like dominoes that will fall into place, and ultimately leverage your way into something much bigger than you could ever imagine. And knowing people might play a role in that, but honestly, like, I don't want to have friendships that are based on transaction, that because I know you, I should have the ability to do X, Y, and Z, or I'm just going to stay with you when I'm in that city so I don't have to pay for a hotel. Like, maybe that's been a thought in my mind before, because, you know, I'm broke and like X, Y, and Z, like, you can justify a lot of things when you come from that place of scarcity. But instead, I need to view it as I shouldn't travel somewhere unless I have, because this is another thing I made a problem of this week, unless I have housing situations figured out, unless I'm doing a challenge that, like the Hitchhiking to All 50 States, where like that's the point of everything, is to not know. But I shouldn't put that burden on someone else. I don't know. I should always be open, or like have the monetary backing to be able to book a hotel. There's business idea in this for like pod hostels that I would love to commit to. But that's the thing, is like, trying to deal with all these ideas right now is way too much. So let me just pull back, restructure my brain, move forward, see the vision for the future, stack the actions together so that they fall all in order, and put myself on the boundary of chaos and order. That way I can come into contact with like the best ideas, the optimal zone of development, so that I can stack things instead of trying to, you know, do the least amount of effort and just leverage people that I know to get me into places. I'd much rather actually do things with my life, and then people knock on my door saying like, hey, we want you to come to this event, or let's have my podcast, or dude, we'd love to link up with you when you're in this city. That's what I'd much rather have happen than me constantly try to network and save up connections and reach out to these people, and hopefully one of them pays off. Like, no, let me just go do something with my life. That way people reach out to me with these opportunities. You just save so much more effort if you actually do something, and it's better for all the parties, you know, because now the people that know you, well, you're actually better. Not better than them, but like better than you would have been if you would have just networked your way into this social circle, because you actually had to do something that would cause these people to reach out to you. And, you know, they're incredible people as well, right? So then now it's better for all parties that they didn't find you by networking, but instead by just observing what you've done with your life. All right, well, that's all. My 2 cents. Oh, yeah. You know what's so funny? The whole point of this, I was going to talk about how I had to go run my daily mile because I forgot today. And so then maintenance, right? Stay on top of the structure. Don't let your day get away from you. Those types of things. I do like running at night, so maybe I'm okay continuing this habit for now until my life, you know, leads me to not be able to do this. But anyways, that's why I was going to say this, is like, I almost forgot, you know, so life can get carried away, especially when you're unclear of what the future looks like. That's everything I'm going through right now. So instead, you want to make sure that you're maintaining your mind. That way, you know, the daily structure of running a mile and staying on top of friends and family, all of these different things, you don't have to do it all catch up, like always playing catch up. Instead, like, you can just maintain, right? Because there will never be a Sunday where you can just go work your way into a dream body, or, you know, a Saturday where you get to catch up with all of your loved ones, right? Like, instead, just sending texts over months and doing the daily mile, slow maintenance, and then every season you take on one category and really build that out. And some things force you to do that, children. Other things don't, your body. And so you want to make sure that when you set up your life and those dominoes that fall into place, you can kind of put the things that you won't be able to have time for in the future now as part of the core central idea. That way you can maintain these things later on in life. Right now, that's building the body. Part of the reason why I'm sick. All these things play together. I will have the ability to buy a home here. That's not a question in my mind. Will I be a better man? Will I achieve my full potential? These are the questions that I wrestle with. And then I'll realize I don't even need to buy a home here. Taxes are too much. Why not us?